All right, so for my persuasive speech, I'm doing the topic on pitch clocks. And so a pitch clock is something that a lot of people don't actually know what it is, and it's starting to be a new thing with the MLB. And so a lot of people think that the pitch clock is something that it'll make the game faster, and it will. And most of the reason why they put the pitch clock in the game was because everyone thought the game was boring. People would go there and watch games for hours and hours and hours, and the game would take forever. And so the topics that I'm going to be covering today are why the pitch clock is important for MLB and why they added it, how the pitch clock is going to make the game faster and overall solve the problem of making the game not so boring. And my third one is going to be what rules came with the pitch clock, because there's so many different rules that came with the pitch clock that a lot of people don't know about. They don't realize that these rules came with the pitch clock, and some of the players don't even know, and they're getting ejected for it. And so to start out my speech is we're going to be talking about how the MLB, why they added the pitch clock. And so I previously stated that obviously so many people think that the game is boring. And so they added this pitch clock because they wanted to eliminate the amount of time in between pitches. So back before, like last year, there would be almost a minute in between each pitch. The pitcher would have to do all this stuff. He would have to get his rosin, whatever. He would walk around the mound multiple times. And then the batter will even stand there, readjust his gloves, everything. And by the time the pitch goes by, it's a minute long. And that takes forever for the game to go by, especially when there's, 100 pitches in a game. Like, that's quite a while. And so that's one of the major reasons that the pitch clock is in the game, is to speed up the game. And so overall, like the rules that came with the pitch clock. So the rules that came with it is that these are actually really complicated for everyone. People don't realize them, and people aren't as familiar with them. And so what the rules are for the pitch clock is, there's a clock on the left side and the right side of every stadium that MLB has. And so the reason there's two clocks is because one is for the batter, so the batter can, either he's left or right-handed, the batter can see it while he's in the batter's box. And then, of course, the pitcher can see both of them, which that's just mainly because of the batters, but he can also see them. So as soon as the pitcher catches the ball, the pitcher is forced to throw the ball in the matter of 20 seconds. So as soon as the pitcher catches the ball from the catcher, that clock will start timing. And so he gets 20 seconds to throw the ball. And so the batter has a rule. So the batter can be out of the box until he has to be inside the box at 8 seconds, and he has to be ready and looking at the pitcher right when the clock hits 8 seconds. And so if the pitcher doesn't throw the pitch in the matter of 20 seconds, and the batter throws the pitch or isn't ready to hit the ball in 8 seconds, there will either be a ball or strike. So if the pitcher doesn't throw the ball in 20 seconds, then that will most likely it'll be a ball to the batter's count. And so that'll benefit the pitcher or the batter, but not the pitcher. And so the batter, they get 8 seconds to be in the box, and if they're not in the box ready to pitch, looking at the pitcher at 8 seconds, they'll be called a strike. And so there actually has been multiple sites, like I seen on MLB Live and ESPN, there was this one game where this guy, it was a tie game, there was a guy on first, second, third, there was 2 outs, and the guy wasn't ready in the box in the nick of the time where it hit 7 seconds and he was in the box, and the umpire actually called a strike, and that was his last strike, so he got called out and they lost the game. So obviously these rules, they go by them very closely, and the umps will have it'll be so precise that the umps have little speakers in their helmet where it'll make a noise, or like a little beeping noise, and as soon as that noise goes off and the batter isn't in the box, the umpire will automatically call it a strike. And so how the pitch clock is technically going to be making it faster is obviously, like I said, it's going to shorten up the time in between the pitches, and that's mainly the main reason why the MLB added the pitch clock. And so I've used multiple different sources like MLB.com, ESPN, all the sports sources, and so many people say that this pitch clock has improved the way MLB is. Like before, the games would take hours and hours and hours. And the reason why that was is because of the time in between the pitches. And so now you can actually go to a game, and there'll be so many more hits, it'll be less time of waiting and watching the players just stand around and do whatever they're doing before their games, because a lot of times batters do a lot of things before the pitch that just isn't necessary. And so overall, I think that this pitch clock is going to help improve just how fast the game is, and I think it's going to interest a lot more fans, because obviously people want to see hits, people want to see action. They don't want to just sit there and watch people walk around and take a strike, take multiple strikes, and it's just not as fun. So the topics that I covered were why MLB placed the pitch clock, and I went over that. They wanted to make the game faster and not so boring for the audience, because people want to see hits and they want to see action. And the rules that came with the pitch clock is, like I said, was the 20 seconds, the 20 seconds they added, the 8 seconds that the batter had, and yeah, those are the rules, and people are gonna get familiar with it. And my last thing that I talked about was how the pitch clock is going to make the game faster. And so the pitch clock obviously is going to eliminate the time in between the pitches and make the game overall faster. And so what I want you guys to take out of this is that maybe you didn't think that baseball was a very fun sport to watch, and I mean, yeah, it is a fun sport to play, but I can admit, even as a baseball player, like, watching it isn't as fun. But recently, it has been fun, because the games aren't as long and there's so much more action going on. So I just want you to take out of this speech that maybe go try watch a game, and I don't know, maybe see if this pitch clock is something worth it and worthwhile watching and taking your time to watch.